Hi, this is the Gypsy Rover with the Jokers on duty. And earlier I had taken. Ooh, my hair's sticking up. Excuse me. I had taken you through the haunted replicants of what we call the Hunter's Cabin. It is going to be reopening, like I was saying earlier, for Devil's Night and Halloween Night, and there will again will be trivia questions. Just a matter of when I get a chance to put them together, and my throat. I got the hiccups here, and okay, there we go. So and there may actually be maybe a questionnaire. I don't know yet. I'm gonna make one up for a couple. Make up a couple, I guess. Write out a couple of trivia questions for Hunter Cabin, like I did before. The last one was maybe about a few of them, and that. So I'm gonna brainstorm from the other videos, and that, and see what I can come up with. But that probably be after one show after the haunted house, haunted cabin when it reopens, and which is now we're Halloween week, because we're going into we're authentically now still 7 days away till Halloween, and because we're this close to Halloween. Now, during Halloween week, we can still wish people happy Halloween and that kind of thing. Again, so that's what's going to be happening 30th. My character Ian was saying, that's where everything's going to darken down, and it's going to you can experience the silence side of Hunter's Cabin. In the Dark Hunter's Cabin challenge, it was a card game flip, and in some of the scenes there was a little bit of sound effects and that kind of thing, and so there was a bit of a twist, so it was be a little less frightening. This now is going to go into authentically into what the experience of Hunter's Cabin would have been like 100 years ago, with the dead silence and the old tradition ghost stories, and and where the haunted fireplace is going to come on, and again, you may, even though I do the voices in the fireplace, like I was saying, there was also there was an actual female voice. Like I said, my wife wasn't home, and the cat was sleeping somewhere, and there was an actual female voice in the room, and in that same room, which was in the Dark Hunter's Cabin haunted room, and that when we were in there, when we did the first filming of it, and the countdown party. So before we moved it to the front living room of the replicant of Hunter's Cabin, and that so. So it's so we heard something in there prior to me doing the background voices, prior to that, so something had jumped in, so everything's now is another test. Everything is moved out to the front living room. That's what I said. Like I said, this is just a replicant to Hunter's Cabin, but like I said, no matter where you are, or when the Hunter's Cabin story is actually told, you'll experience things. You'll hear spiritual voices, that kind of thing. There is some type of identity movement, and like I said, there is too. It's like I said, at that one time they could only catch the sounds, the voices, whatever on tape. They couldn't. The technology was not high enough to catch the apparitions right on tape. So now, if this is the year, if by any chance during this haunted house, something comes poking its head out. I don't mean Atreyu here. He's always poking his head at something. And that, will we actually be able to catch it this time because our technology is so advanced and that, and, that's, so we'll actually catch that on tape and, be able, well, actually catch it in video, because our technology is high enough. Hey, you behave up there. Man, I always have to correct you. Anyhow, and that. So, and like I said, like I was saying, like there was, like I do have one replicant that I do collect, because I am a horror movie fan, but I don't ever use. It is locked up and secured. But again, some people do believe in using them. There is authentically, if I was to, because I, like, you can tell in the background I do have a black cat, and spiritually they'd be immune to it, and he started linking to it, so automatically I had to lock it right back down and I had to put it away. So that way it doesn't try to link them. Just hang on a second. Hello. Hey. Just on live stream right now. Oh, he's over here. He's smoking me out. he's spooking me out, making shadows on the roof. Because it's so the lights are dim down here because I blew a bulb in the roof. In the ceiling lights and that. So, and yeah. Okay, you got your keys? Okay. Okay, bye. I always love telephone calls, don't you? I should have picked it up and said, "Hello, Hunter's Cabin. Ian speaking." I really scared the benjolis out of them. Anyhow, don't ever do that, because I did that one time, and it really made somebody jump, and that, but yeah, again, like with the replicant, I won't put that out because, like I said, my cat will be too linked to it spiritually because he is a black. You can see he is a black cat, and his spiritual ancestries would be would have been used for New Age practices, and like I said, it was a tool that would have been used in the original Hunter's Cabin. That's the only replicant we are leaving out. We would kind of try to put it in here for you, to take you back to the original 100 years ago, but because it is having too much effect spiritually on the cat, like I said, I was able to just show it on a live stream of what would have been used, and then completely combination lock it down into a briefcase and shove it away in a closet. That way it's out of paw reach of him. That way he's not going to be immune to it, and it's not gonna it's not in the same room as he is. It's not going to draw him in that. So because he was getting too sitting on it, and taking too much of a closeness to it than he is to either me or my wife, and that. So that's why it's not coming out. It is not going to come out, and that. So like I said, it's just a collector's item, and that. So it's just a replicant collection. Just like a lot of like the Harry Potter wands you buy, they're just collection items. I did order the good, my wife's not here. I did send away an order, one of the Neverending Story replicants of the Orin Noah Hathaway wore in the movie. One of those I bought off of Amazon for $12 or something like that, which is on its way in by China Post. And again, that is just a replicant. I would not authentically wear it. I just buy it to collect it, because I'm a movie fan. No matter what type of movie fan you are, or horror movie, whatever, People do buy up their replicants just to collect it, that kind of thing, to have a collection of it. And that way to because when old movies like that are discontinued, it's a keepsake. So it's and then over time, a couple of years down the road, it'll become worth money. So I'd never sell it, but some people over time, it is a type of thing from generation to generation that travels, and it goes down a generation line, and and then over time, it becomes like Star Wars. Like Star Wars was a money-making fad at one time. The original was before they started making all the remakes, and so which went woo right up the box office, and that started making $1 million, over $1 million point something dollars, and they were pulling in, and they were because of on how old a franchise that is. People love Star Wars. They love those old movies. They pay lots of money, just to buy them up and that kind of thing. And even with the new ones out, because it goes with the collection, and that just the name alone is a big fad. So that's coming back in. Where at one time, it was downhill for a while. Went into a vault, and that kind of thing, like most old movies do, for so many time period. And then after 5 years after that, they come back out to the top of the surface, they call it, and they come out of the vault and they start making. The stores start making the money on them again, and the sales go up. So. And that, so I always enjoy that, and I always like watching those old movies. Like, I buy them up and collect them. Like, I have a huge DVD collection. I've got a huge Blu-ray collection. I collect and watch movies. I buy and collect them up. I watch even some of the old ones. I sit back, I watch them, I enjoy them. And that, so. And then, too, I got, plus I do my Jokers on Duty hobby and that kind of thing that I enjoy doing, I've always done. This is our actually first time being on Facebook. I've always had a Facebook account, but we didn't even know, for a long period of time, that we could do live streams on Facebook. We didn't know about that. This is a new discovery for us. So experiment for us. So and that, because when I had first started, I was old school. It was done, by a regular camcorder video camera, and transferred on by VCR onto a VHS tape, and that. So this way, you can actually post to Facebook. You can videotape and film, live videotape and film, and then post to Facebook automatically. So I think this is really neat, and that kind of thing. And the icons on here, costume icons, were pretty cool on here too, and that. Yeah. So this is like also too. Tonight is one of our social nights. I did catch him after the last half of it. His comment streams weren't working, but maybe tomorrow night his comment streams will start working. So far I've had no problems with mine. One of these nights I am going to do an invite, and that to see what guest speaker we could get on Jokers on Duty here, to see if they respond and if they want to come in and they want to be on Jokers on Duty and they come through the live stream, and from their live stream. And that kind of thing, and see what who's next to come on Jokers on Duty to enjoy to come in and hang out and on Jokers on Duty session. If you probably noticed, my shows, if somebody comes through as a guest speaker, is I invite them and they pop in as being added as a guest speaker, and they come through on a live stream. If you notice that I go from the social changes, so which will actually focus on that guest speaker. That way we can actually sit back and we can actually have a conversation. Like, you know, we probably seen when we had Michael Klotz on Jokers on Duty. He came through live stream, and we had a bit of a, we were live with him. And I actually enjoyed that. I enjoyed, I didn't mind him coming through my live stream, and that was fun. That was the first time he came to mine. Usually he goes around to the others, like Prada West, and which is a big time celebrity rap star, and that. Even if some of the celebrities, like if I send them an invite, and let's say if there's a night that they're not doing anything, they're not busy, and and they respond to the invite, and it says please, and I get a note saying please add me to as guest speaker, as guest, and I press it as guest. Add if I add them to being a guest, they'll come through on their live stream onto my live stream. And then we're going to just focus on talking with them, and that way it's, which brings up the show a bit more because it's more interesting. Like even my shows right now are interesting as is, because I always try to make Jokers on Duty as enjoyable as possible. It's that way, we don't end up becoming a boring stream, and it's the exciting part of it goes down, and that. So, it's we're technically trying to make a good name for ourselves, like MFers, in that. So, like Michael Klotz he's growing, and this is a chance for Jokers on Duty to go through a growth too, and in that. So by allowing a lot of these other streamers to come in, to visit on live stream, like Mike says, when he visits another stream, when he goes to his live stream to visit another live stream, some of his the comments and that kind of thing, that goes to the MFers page, because that my live stream when he was on mine will go to his page. That video will go to his page, and any comments left on my streams that he's linked to come visit, like he said, the comment and reactions don't count unless they're on his MFers they have to go to his MFers live stream at night, at 8 o'clock at night, and that. So when he's on, if they leave comments on his MFers page or his MFers live stream, when he's in Guelph or he's at a rock concert or whatever, they count. If he's live streaming a rock concert by MFers, if he is popping in on my live stream or Jesse's or Prada West's, you can still leave your comments and your reactions. It's just for MFers they don't count. Something like that. That's how he puts it. Unless you're on his, unless you're sitting in on his sessions, then when you leave your comments at his sessions or on his page, if they're counted, he has a count list for the shout outs and that kind of thing. Now the good thing about him is, the very good thing that I noticed about them is they have what you call a swear jar, and that, so because they are a PG show. Now Jokers on Duty sometimes, because with Halloween, when you actually authentically put on a haunted house, you go above PG. So again, because it's when you actually put on authentic haunted house, or you tell, or you bringing out like me, I'm bringing out my old camp story and that about Hunter's Cabin. Then you're going a step higher than PG, or a couple steps higher than PG. You're not at a restricted point. You're just going above PG. So, and that, so if there is, because a lot of little kids, they love going to haunted houses, but because the haunted house is videotaping on Facebook, a lot of parents will sit with them and watch the haunted house and that kind of thing. That way it's it's that's why I said at my end I'm trying to make it as frightening as possible. That's why in the Dark Hunters Cabin Challenge, I put it to what you call a card game. I added to bring down, just because I know Hunter's Cabin can get very frightening. I know it did when I was a kid. That kind of thing when it was told to me, and then it became my story because I added my camp experience into it. With that. It's because the type of story Hunter's Cabin is, it's almost like it's a Halloween fit. So it's like if you go to any live haunted house, the houses are lit up, and it's haunted houses have got people in costumes jumping out at you. Well, here I don't have people jumping out at costumes, so it's a little less. I'm bringing the frightening down of it. I was smart because I did not hire people to jump out on here and with tentacle costumes. There's a couple guys here that wanted to come on my stream and do it, and do that and jump out, and I had said no because of. If I'm telling the Hunter's Cabin story, or I'm putting it into like a video because we're on Facebook, I'm bringing the frightening level of it down a bit, so that way it stays as a PG show. Even if it goes up maybe about 2 ratings, that kind of thing. Even if it goes up to parental guidance, so to a parental guidance, that kind of thing. Because I know I've got a 9-year-old niece, and that's how old I was when Hunter's Cabin was told to me, and that kind of thing. And so to reduce the risk of nightmares and that, what I did with I broke it down into smaller streams, and what I did was I kind of putting it together. But yeah, one day this is going to make a good horror movie, that kind of thing. Actual restricted horror movie in Hollywood. That's their choice if they want to pick up on it or not. But they're most welcome to. If they're watching my streams and taking notes, what they can use to replicate everything, and that kind of thing, or if it ever becomes written in a book. And that, but again, back to less frightening. With Halloween time, everybody can go everybody goes way out for Halloween, and that kind of thing. So I'm going back the old way, the traditional way of Hunter's Cabin. Like at first there was the reason why there was it was broken down with a little bit of music was because of the fact that we didn't want it too frightening. So we changed it all around. We twisted it all around. I twisted the Hunter's Cabin around so that way it made it more interesting. That way it would be less scary or frightening, because it's a type of story that is a Hunter's Cabin is a type of legend. It will frighten you, and no matter daytime or nighttime with lights on or off. Like I said, but what frightened me was there was an actual apparition in the room, so that actually spoke. There was a female's voice that actually spoke, and my wife wasn't home, and that my cat was sleeping somewhere on the table or whatever, like it usually does, and anyhow, that's the outline of that. So now this part of Hunter's Cabin is taking you back. It's going to actually take you back 100 years to show you authentically on how quiet it would have been and all you're gonna hear is just the haunting voices in the haunted fireplace. You may see all of a sudden the fireplace light up. The cabin will darken down. Again, this is a replicant for Halloween from the real traditional cabin. If we were in the real cabin, right now it's me controlling the fireplace, that kind of thing, because it's electric fireplace. If we had been in the real cabin, I could be sitting here talking to you on the camera, and then all of a sudden the lights automatically kind of flicker on their own. The whole room goes dark by itself. No ideas, Atreyu, to spook me out, because I know you like to. Don't rock my dummies back and forth. I know you like to do that too. I caught you a couple times, but so everything would come on by itself, or you see signs of hauntings very quickly, and it would not be human controlled. In that end of it, in the real cabin of it, anyways. With this replicant now I did by filming the Dark Hunters Cabin Challenge. There was a female voice when we started that, and when I was questioning my headless hunters that I was afraid of, that I was actually what you call contrillitrizing the voices, and in the fireplace, but in the room was another voice that was not even me, that I wasn't even doing. It just came out of nowhere. And it startled me right there. You probably noticed that video. You can always go back and watch those other videos. They're on my Facebook. That's what I said. But this time, with it being actual Halloween, we're gonna take you into the we're gonna take you into the replicancy of the dark cabin and what it would have been like then. With the haunted fireplace coming back on. Basically, but in total dead silence, and with the that way you can actually be able to sense and hear voices and that kind of thing, which would be me doing the voices coming out of the fireplace. Hang on a second, I gotta get somebody. And so anyways, me doing the voices. So, and that, to see if we hear any other voices coming out in the room. And, which I will try to get to be 100% authentically quiet in here, for that. Because it'll be a silent night. I'm not saying Christmas night, yet. I'm talking... Busy, and so that'll be a total silent night, and not so see if we hear anything and that kind of thing too. That is the best time to catch whatever is floating around in here. Besides me doing the voices, and if that other voice comes back, that way we can pinpoint. That too, and so I mean, like I said, we're still sitting at 7 days to Halloween. Tomorrow, we'll actually hit 6. I think. Did I say today was 6 or tomorrow's 6? Oh, tomorrow's might be 6. Today's 7, I think. And that, but and that. So, so we're just keeping on that, and like I said, if by any chance if there's any guests that are on, I'll send them an invite, and if they respond wanting to add as a guest and they come through their live stream to my live stream, then we're going to focus an interview with them and that kind of thing, and we'll have a chat session and a hangout session with them on here, and that. and so that way they get to know the jokers on duty and know what we do. If they want to ask questions, they can. Considering they're clean and not rude, and that. And so, I had a great time when people come and visit different people's streams and that. They live stream from their end, but they come visit different streams, and that. So I always enjoy that, and I always enjoyed when Michael came into my streams. Like, he's welcome anytime he wants. I don't mind. He's. But like I said, he's moved around to the different streams to check them out. Like he said, all you have to do is send them the invite, and then he'll come in and he'll hang out with his MFers. And hey, go scratch somebody else's drawers. Hey, he's playing with something. I gotta find out what he's playing with. That. Oh, yeah, thank you. I lost that. So anyhow, man, cats, they find stuff I lose all the time. Maybe my cat will be nice enough and find me $1 million for me around here. Like I said, this used to be an old bank. You'd be surprised what they left behind here. In the cracks of the floors, hopefully. But yeah, so when we go into the authentic Hunter's Cabin, night. Hey! Excuse me. Thank you. Man, he likes to play, for some reason, he likes to play with my tool belts. He finds them attractive. I can't wait till after Halloween when I put them away for next year. And that. And so when we go into Hunter's Cabin, when we go into Hunter's Cabin, into the 30th and 31st, I said I'm going to request that is going to be authentically, those 2 nights be authentically quiet, that there is no background sound whatsoever overpowering my streams. Because of the fact that if there is also on top of me doing the voices of the story, me doing voices in the haunted fireplace, it's my way of catching if there are a real spiritual movement in here too. On top of that, and I can't do that with all this with a lot of all background disruptions, with actual background people playing video games very loud all night long, and that kind of thing. That because same with with ghost and what you call paranormal investigators. They go into a haunted building. The only sounds that they want what they're looking for to hear is what's haunting the place. They don't want any other, disruption noises that is not related to what they're looking for, and that kind of thing. And so by doing, when we did the Hunter's Cabin challenge, we do, we're throwing the Hunter's Cabin live stream party that none of the characters made it to because they all died, because they all became ghosts of Hunter's Cabin. Especially you see my ghost back here, replicant, and that for those nights. I'm gonna ask my wife to have it completely quiet all night long, just so while it's going. So if there's any movement, you'll probably notice I'll pop on sometimes, like let's say in the middle of the night, I may get up in the middle of the night and go on live stream. If I do, it means that there's been what you call a close encounter, spiritually, and it'll be my way of trying to catch it. So that means instead of the being a full it just like it'd be separate from the haunted house. If by any chance there's a sighting or whatever shows up in here, an actual apparition, it means this is my way of catching it, catching evidence of it. Or if there's any quiet sounds when everybody's asleep and that kind of thing, and there's voices going on in the living room and the cat's asleep, because I can actually videotape the cat I will videotape the actual cat being asleep, and then I will I don't have a flashlight. I will actually scan the front living room, kitchen, and hallways, and see what I pick up. And if something shows up on live, excuse me, that is twice today, mister. You did that. Eh? That is twice you did that. Eh? Daddy's okay with that. He's just teasing the buddy. He loves you. Just don't do that again. So anyhow, and that. So that means I'll be able to catch whatever's whatever's, if this building does have a history. Now, when we first moved in here, this really, really, really spooked me out, because we were giving, when we first paid our first last month's rent, we were given a set of keys to only Fran and I, or my wife and I, that's my wife, only had a set of keys to this apartment. No one else had a set of keys. And this happened actually on Halloween night. And the door was actually locked, and this is before we got you. And because you would have went crazy there, buddy, for a minute. And I was actually laying down on the couch because it was a hard day. We had just moved in. It was October, closer to Halloween when we moved in. And at first, the actual front door actually unlocked and opened. So I thought somebody was forcing their way into the apartment. And I went to check, and there was nobody there. The person had disappeared. And now, if it was somebody that was actually trying to get in, they wouldn't disappear that quick without you hearing them. And it was like a quick flash, you heard the click, and the door had actually clicked, and the chain clicked off, and the door came open. And I went to check, and usually the person, if somebody was forcing their way in, they'd actually show up in the house, in the apartment, or you'd see a human being. Well, I went over closer. I went to go closer to the door to see if I can confront the person, and all of a sudden there was nobody there, and because we've got a long hallway out in the hallway, our neighbor would have actually seen the person, and you would have heard the double door out in the hallway. Well, we didn't hear that double door. We didn't even hear the double door, or anything coming through the double door and actually to the apartment door, because they got to go down this long hallway, because like I said, we live in an old bank safe, and which sits way in the back, because all the hallways, all the apartments all used to be old bank safes. And and the door had come open, so we're trying to figure out spiritually, did it come open, did somebody force it open, and but when we went to see if there was an actual human being there, there's nobody there. And because that length of time, they would not have been able to get away without getting caught. And you get out. And they would not been able to pick the lock, and somebody be sitting in the living room, or me sitting in the living room, and it doesn't take me long to get from the living room to the door, and there was no way they'd have a chance to run out a one-way hallway, because there's not an exit doorway out the hallway. There's only one way in and out. and they would have to bypass the neighbor. They would have been caught by her because she's got a spy peephole in her door. That's something we don't have, and that. But authentically, they wouldn't have been able to get away without getting caught. But when I went to the door, there was nobody there. So that's what makes me kind of stop to wonder about this building, too. So this is my way of keeping my mind focused and bringing out my old camp story to historically catch if there is any type of movement going through this hallway in our building, or any movement going in this apartment. And like even tonight, here's another issue. Even tonight, I usually go in to have a shower, and I swore I heard walking around out here, and the cat the whole time was sleeping on the table, and my wife was out at a friend's house watching wrestling, and because we don't have cable, and and all of a sudden I hear footsteps inside my apartment. Usually I can hear them upstairs or downstairs. It doesn't sound that loud, but it sounded like it was right in the room. Hey, get out! And it sounded like whatever it was surfacing, walking around the actual front living room. And again, we want to be able to detect what it is. I can't really say what it is or if I know what it is, but it is starting to sound kind of familiar to what I close encountered at Camp Northern Lights as a kid, in the dark woods of Camp Northern Lights. So I don't know if it is the actual real apparitions now making for real. Even though I've replicated everything from that and reopened the Hunter's Cabin and retelling the story in a different way, I don't know if it's the same. If it's the same apparitions that I came close encountered with as a kid at summer camp. Had decided it's somehow it's channeled through, and we want to be able to see what it's doing and how it's moving. If it is the two twin headless hunters, then they've been listening and following my story all along, and they've probably been linked to me since I was a little kid, and so they were waiting for this opportunity for this story to come out, and for them to actually finally reveal themselves again, but differently. When I was a kid, when they revealed themselves the first time, it was sounds, voices, and shadows. There was not a full apparitional caught yet of them. It was because I was at that time, I was too scared because I was going through the nightmares from the stories, and that I was even too scared to try to question it or try to talk to it, and that. So by me it was facing my old fears of them, and doing the voices in Haunted Fireplace, and then another voice spoke up, which was a real apparition in this room, in this place, on top of me doing the voices for Ian and Ivan. Was an actual female voice, and that. It was a very, very harsh, non-peaceful voice, and also too, a lot of weird phone calls I've been getting too, and that where the line is always like the phone will ring, nobody will speak, it's a dead line, we don't know if it's actual human, or if it is extraterrestrial. An extraterrestrial making contact with, because of the fact everything's based through your technology, through internet technology, or if it is some type of an apparition or whatever, poltergeist of some kind intercepting the phone line. that kind of thing. With that, this is what we're trying to determine to find out. I'm not talking about bill collectors that love to call. Usually 10 to 1, they will not leave the line. As people say, oh, they'll leave the lines open. They'll do that. But no, I don't think anybody in professional businesses would actually do something like that to somebody's phone line. I don't really see them doing that. Usually somebody will actually talk to you. But this case, it's a very deadly, ghostly silence. And the same silence that replicates back to Hunter's cabin and that kind of thing. And that, so it's like a ghostly silence, and it's happening. It happens off and on in between different sometimes during the day, and that, or it's happening like very early in the morning. So it like in the midnight mornings. Canadian time, like 1:12, maybe 1:30 a.m., 2:30, and most business telemarketing people now don't work past 11 o'clock at night, or at the latest they work is 10:30. They don't make those kind of business calls after 10:30 at night. They've changed a lot of things in that department. They used to, but they don't anymore. Like they're there's no more of this 24-hour service. If you hear them say, well, we got a graveyard shift, that's kind of hard to believe, because they work on business hours. They go home by 10 o'clock at night. They got families, that kind of thing. And so obviously it comes down to it. It's got to be some type of apparition that is possessing the phone line, or it's a sign of authentical haunting. So it becomes what they call a ghost line. That way, apparitions will actually produce human energy. Same with aliens can produce human energy. And they can intercept actual spiritual ghosts or entities, or poltergeists can actually authentically intercept phone lines, TV lines, cable lines, flicker light switches, anything that comes through a phone, any spirit that comes through a phone line, any spirit that comes through your cable line, any spirit that comes through anything electronically, or alien or whatever that can counteract electronics, is poltergeistism, or alien or extraterrestrialism. So it's not human. That we do know. Sometimes they may speak and sound like a human on the phone, but really not. And then all of a sudden they can show up out of nowhere, either in an alien life form or in some type of spiritual format. Like I got a weird call one time. Somebody called here passing them off as a credit agency, and we didn't even know who it was. And them, you never know who it is. And after I hung up with them, 1 o'clock that morning, there was a ghost sighting in our home. There was an actual authentic ghost sighting. I had come in close encounter again with an apparition, either extraterrestrial apparition or a poltergeist apparition. There was spiritual movement in my room right after that, or 2 hours after that phone call, and I knew then it wasn't human. There was nothing human about it. So aberration identities, it can actually get it, like can actually work authentically feed off of energy through your phone lines, through your cable lines, can actually haunt you any which way. Because our technology is high enough now. Same with aliens or whatever can pick up music. They can pick up. Maybe that's why. This is where I'm starting to think now. I am starting to understand. Maybe that is why Facebook has got, not the fact that they don't have the issue with music. Get down. You're being a little troublemaker over there. Anyhow, the reason why they're having it, maybe that's why they have the issue with some parts of the world is with Facebook, because it depends what part of the world they're in. Maybe that's the reason why they're having an issue with music. Is not to be mean or discriminatable. I think it is because of the fact because we're in what you call extraterrestrial nation, extraterrestrial part of the. We're getting closer to their universe. Our universe is always scientifically moving, and because our technology comes through space. It opens up an airwave to extraterrestrials and gets their attention. And music is always the thing that will do it. And then they always pick up on our music vibes. And I think that is why, for safety reasons, being on the internet, I think this is why Facebook. It's not the fact they don't have an issue with the music. I think the reason is because they want to prevent an apparition, or they want to prevent a haunting from happening, or an alien close encounter, or an alien invasion. I think that's what they're trying to protect everybody about, and so, hey, you're gonna stop this, buddy. Okay, you're just destroying the place. I'm not gonna have this all the time. I'm set up so nice for Halloween, you don't need to wreck it. Your mama wrecks my Halloween, she's gonna say goodbye at Christmas. So anyhow, sorry about that. It's the kids. Sometimes my cat, he gets hyper and that kind of thing. And so I think this is why, because some parts of the world has experienced close encounters with alien invasions and that kind of thing, extraterrestrialism. And stop, okay? She comes home, she doesn't feed you. I fed you twice. You won't need to get hyper. You're gonna break stuff. Behave yourself. My cat likes to get hyper now and then. And maybe it's just because, I think maybe because my wife's been gone all day and he's a little hype. Hey! Don't put on a show. Anyhow, I hate being disrupted like this all the time. It makes me nervous. Anyways, this is probably why there's a big issue with Facebook Music. I think might be because of the type of generation we're in. Go lay down. Go lay down. Thank you. Sorry about that. Hey, down. Daddy is talking. You don't disrupt. And I think this is why they have a big issue with the music, is because it's probably reaching out too far in the universe, and it's going into what you call alien solar systems, and it's calling out to extraterrestrialism, and extraterrestrials, and they're picking up on it, or it's creating apparitions to happen, or ghost sightings to happen, or alien sightings to happen. I think it's because they will feed and follow the music wherever it is, because they can hear it for thousands of light years away. Same with ghosts, spirits, identities. They follow the music. And that's so, I think that's what the issue is with the music, is because they're drawn to it. It calls out to them, and so they get curious, and they want to know where it's coming from. So they follow the sounds, they follow the music, and it gets their attention, and the music takes them right to you. You need to get down. Stay down. You're just getting hyper because your mama wasn't home all day. That's not my fault. And that's her fault for running out and watching wrestling when she should have been home with you. Hey! That kind of thing. So I think that this is why they he getting hyper again. I hate that. He thinks nighttime's playtime. It's sleep time. Because they're drawn to music. Okay, Atreyu, I know you're hyper, buddy. Go lay down. Please. Okay, be a good boy. Don't they know to be? Get a little lippy. Anyhow, and so I think because they follow the sounds and vibes to the music, and then they want to figure out where it's coming from, and because it's getting their attention, it's going through their spaceships or their satellites systems, or their technology's picking up on it. And I think this is because of the fact that our internet is all out of space controlled through space centers and that, so it's connected to spaceships and a big satellite in space. I think this protection thing, I think this is why there is a big issue with music with Facebook. I personally think this is probably why, and they're just not saying why. They're not going to tell the public why they have that issue. But it's not being discriminatable, I don't think, at their end. I think it is because of the fact that we're not alone in this universe. We're not the only planet that has human life on it, or some type of life form on it. They probably discovered life form on other planets, and it's drawing these alien beings to our planet. And I think the military and Facebook is trying to keep that all, trying to try to stop people from playing music on Facebook. So they figure if they stop people from trying to play music on Facebook, it won't attract these extraterrestrials, and they won't come to our planet and invade or get curious, and it won't draw them in. Same with ghosts and apparitions. They can't feed off of it. Oh, you be quiet, buddy. Go sleepies. So I think because the fact that aliens will follow music, they'll follow movie sounds, they'll follow anything they can pick up, through space, through space-time travel, and I guess it's bringing them closer and closer and closer to the Earth. So because our technology is always going higher. So I don't think it is always I don't always think it's a way to be mean. I think it's they're trying to avoid, trying to not cause an apparition, not trying to cause alien infestation or invasion. If it happens, it happens on its own. That kind of thing. You can't really control that. As much as it hurts us not to have music, or if we want to have a Christmas party or whatever, as much as we love to have music on here, even though it's mean of them to take it away from us, they could actually be doing it for safety reasons, because it could be drawing aliens, it could be drawing ghost identity spirits, whatever. It could be feeding off that energy. It could be that actually, extraterrestrials could actually be recording it to their satellite systems, and they're actually GPSing it, which is causing alien invasions, it's causing alien abductions, it's causing this kind of stuff. supernatural or paranormal supernatural stuff to happen. And I think this is why the Facebook is trying to demolish people from playing music of any kind on here. Even though it's not, like I said, like personally, it doesn't. It's not right that we should be punished for it. That they should keep this from us. If those are the reasons why they don't, I don't think it's a matter of copyright. I think it is because of the fact of it's attracting aliens, it's attracting apparitions to happen. I think if by any chance, they need to give us an actual authentical reason why. They need to come forward with the truth, and which they've been hiding from us. Actually come out and say this is the reason why. It is not to be mean. It's not to discriminate work. It is because of the fact of what it may attract spiritually or extraterrestrialism reasons, because they may get curious and may want to know where it's coming from, and it causes an invasion of UFOs or whatever. I think this is they're keeping that hush hush, and they don't want to tell the Facebookers that's why they don't allow music. That kind of thing. If that is the case, then they should really be telling you the truth. Why they're not allowing it. But like I said, it could be any reasons why they're not allowing it. But there's like those type of reasons they don't want to tell you. But I have a feeling that, or I can sense that may actually be the reason why they're being like that. Not to be discriminative all of a sudden, and I don't think it's a matter of the copyright. I think it is a matter of safety issues with the fact that there has been alien sightings, there has been UFO sightings, and these things, same with spiritual close encounters, identity apparitions. And I think that kind of thing attracts them, actually creates a doorway and a channel for them to come through. Just like I said, the reason why the one replicant that I have, I will not put out in the haunted house. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You've seen what it was in one of the other videos. I won't put it out because, like I said, I got a black cat, and spiritually it'll channel my black cat spiritually, and it'll cause an actual apparition. An apparition will come through, and that kind of thing. And I think this is why they're trying to I guess this is why Facebook. So it's not. I guess it's not like I said. It's not. Doesn't seem to be a copyright issue. It seems to be more like an energy vibe that they don't want to send airwave signals out to aliens, or cause any hauntings, or any supernatural paranormal activity. I think this is what that is what they're trying to prevent. And music is the number one thing that these things are linked through, that they'll channel through, because anything that produces electrical energy, or like humans produce every day, we produce electrical. You don't really know it, but as a human being, you produce a lot of energy, and same with electronics. Music can cause music. Yeah, it is fun, and that, but also too, it calls out to actual alien communities. It calls out to it causes poltergeistism. It causes spiritual identities to happen. It causes apparitions to happen. So, I mean, these are all energies it feeds off of, and I think this is what Facebook is not telling you. like I said, they must have their reasons why, and they're not just probably not telling the people don't want to tell the people the reasons why that they're probably trying to keep people safe too. So because there's probably been there might have been a case where somewhere in the world that internet was used or live stream was used, and there was an alien close encounter, or there was an alien invasion of some kind, or there was an alien sighting that happened in one of these other countries like Mexico, or again with Area 51, and where Facebook operates worldwide, and they're probably it's probably just a warning signal that because if there's extraterrestrials making their way to Earth, or there's we're in the red. We're in a red flag for aliens invading Earth, or not fully invading Earth, but making UFOs being sighted around the Earth, or surfacing around the Earth, and let's say in part of the world right now, if there is an alien apparition right now going on, I think Facebook is when you go to play music, I think because the aliens are close to the Earth at that particular time, I think Facebook is trying to warn you about something. That way, these extraterrestrials don't make it away to where that music's coming from, and put anybody in any danger. I think that's just why Facebook is being the way they are with the music and staff and that kind of thing. So there's probably some type of a protection thing, because they don't want to send out the energies, they don't want to cause an alertion. Or cause these things to link to you, or to link to where your music's coming from. So, to follow it. So I don't think it is intentionally to, in a discrimination way. But it is wrong that they're not telling you the truth, if this is the truth, or if this is the case that's going on. It's probably what they call a security safety plan, which a lot of them do have. Same with the Department of National Defense. They have what you call a security safety, security safety alien plan, where when you're high if you're on the internet and you're playing music, and let's say if there's an alien invasion or alien sighting somewhere, and there's aliens hovering the Earth at that particular time, the music is going to actually call out to them. They're going to pick up where that music's coming from, and they're going to follow that music to where it's coming from, and they're going to start coming your direction. And I think that what it is they're trying to pass them through another direction. And same with our militaries, we're probably trying to pass them through a different direction, away from people in generally, and because they may be peaceful, they may be harmful. Same with ghost hauntings and that kind of thing. Ghost hauntings are caused because music is used as a doorway, it's used as a channel for spirits to actually energize through, because it's electronic. Like I said, some of the dead phone calls coming from, I know my wife gets upset with them too. I did at first, but I'm just, I'll pick up and I'll hang up, right? If I don't hear a voice, I'll automatically hang up. But the funny thing is, they don't call right back. Whatever it is, doesn't call right back instantly, because if it was a human being, it'll constantly call back. If it's not human, it'll wait till the late hours of night, and then it'll try to call again. It means there's something haunting the phone. There's something channeling the electricity in the phone. Like the wires all changed; it's all brand new wiring. There's something spiritual trying to come through. No matter if it's an extraterrestrial, whatever. Like I said, like you wouldn't get those dead silence. Like if it was any human being, they'd talk at the other end. Any normal person, if you pick up the phone and say hello, they're going to say hello. they're going to talk to you, even if it was a real credit agency. They're going to talk to you and then discuss your business. Other than that, they're not going to leave a deadline. Like, by any chance, if in case of emergency or whatever, something happens and the police have to get a hold of you for anything, they won't leave a deadline. They'll actually talk to you on the phone, or whatever. And they're not gonna call and leave that line totally dead. So they're gonna talk to you and then state their business. But if the phone is constantly ringing, you pick up the phone, nobody's talking, it is a dead silence. Same with the front door buzzer. You say hello, nobody's answering. It authentically means there is an apparition. Like I said about that one night, I was about 15 years old. I was still living at home with my mom when that actually happened, and the phone rang. And I picked up the phone, and the person at the other end, I thought it was a person at the other end of the phone, passed themselves off as a credit agency, looking for my mom. I picked up the phone, and I said hello, and they asked for my mom by name. I was about 15. We were living. My older sister she was off because she went with my dad during the divorce and that they had, and that. So, but anyways, they phoned, and they asked for my mom by name, and so actually I thought it was I thought I was talking to an actual person, and creditor, and and all the doors were locked, and we had went to bed, and she went to her room, I went to mine. And in the middle of the night, something startled me. I heard a noise downstairs in the kitchen, and she was asleep. All the doors were locked. I went down to the kitchen. That same phone call, just after that phone call had happened, at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, about 12:30 at night, there was an apparition in the house. It wasn't a human. It wasn't a break-in. At first, I thought it was a break-in, and so we got worried. So we actually phoned the Peterborough Police Department, and Officer Gordon McNeven at the time came by, and he checked out the house, and he said no, it wasn't a break-in. He said, I do believe you, there was something there, but it was not a B&E. He asked if we had got a strange call. I said, yeah, we got a strange call. I answered the call. I got a strange call, and the person passed himself off as a creditor. And at first, we thought it was just somebody playing with the phone, being a hoax. And then and then at 12:30 at night, there was an apparition in the house, and that's when he said that you should hire either move or hire a paranormal investigator. And at that time, because I was little, we didn't have the money to pay for that kind of thing, so we couldn't hire anybody. So we moved. I moved when I became of age, about 21. I moved out and that kind of thing. And my mom went on her own. This is way before she died. She just died recently in June of this year. But but when I was a teenager, that was this weird call that happened. And again, I was getting the dead call silence then too. And but this person on the other phone at the other end did talk, and we thought it was an actual person. And Pat had said that they were the credit agency. And then all of a sudden, we heard noises in the house and woke up in the middle of the night. There was actually something in the house. Spiritually, there was an entity in the house, made its way into the house that came through the phone line. And we actually called. We actually called that credit agency, and you couldn't dial back to that number. There was nobody there. It didn't exist. And so it kind of freaked us out. So that's how. And then at that time we had to get the Peterborough Police to phone every listed credit agency, and that's when they turned around and said, no, we don't work past 10:30 at night. We won't call you at 10:30 at night. We do our calling between 9 to 8:30 at night. Other than that, we won't call any other hour of the night, because our offices are closed, and that we're all home with our families. We're in bed. Like our work hours and that kind of thing. And we said, okay, thanks. We had that checked out. And then when the apparition showed up in the house, in the townhouse, then we knew it was some type of an entity that was doing the calling. It was a demon. It was whatever you want to call it, poltergeist. It was an actual apparition that was haunting the phone lines, and had used the phone and used electronics to actually used it as a doorway to get in, and that kind of thing. So nowadays you do have to be careful, because these things do exist. And hey, you're freaking me out. Go lay down. And just because I'm on a spooky topic, don't mean you have to freak me out there, Treyer. And that, but yeah. So this is what you have. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. So, like even now, I'm starting to get that dead silence phone calls again, and at this time I'm on my guard and I'm on watch. So it's putting me on a ghost watch right now. Because my wife thinks, oh, it's just creditors playing with the phone. I said, no, the creditors. This happened to me before when I was a kid. Creditors will not play with the phone. They're smart human beings. They'll actually phone. They'll phone and they'll talk to you on the phone. Actual real representatives will talk to you on the phone. Even ghosts will talk to you on the phone too. But there's a difference, because if by any chance. Because actual creditors won't show up inside your home. They don't even show up at your home, period, anymore. Not that, which I don't ever wish them to. But there was an actual that call at that time was actually linked to an actual apparition. It wasn't really it wasn't a human being that called. It was actually an authentical identity that was already in the house that used somehow. Or actually used a force of energy to use the other phone line, and actually spoke through the telephone, and that apparition was already in the house. So, like, if you have more than one telephone in the house, when you're asleep, that identity could use the other room's phone, or even it could be, whatever it does, it is haunting through the phone lines. So. When you hear the dead silence, same with the front buzzer. That's why I always tell my friends, if they're going to come to visit, I know some of them like to joke around and play games and not talk on the buzzer. I tell them not to do that because we do not have call display. And because the fact that it's an everyday thing that's been happening, that kind of thing. So, especially if it's on an identity watch or any kind of watch or a stalking watch, whatever, I always tell them, don't play with the phones like that. Don't play with the buzzer like that, because if by any chance we're experienced, because like I said, we're in an old apartment building, by any chance if there is some type of identity again, an apparition is a sign of a haunting that's going to happen of any kind, the phone is the first thing that goes off, and either the phone will go off. Or even your smoke detector, if you're not even cooking, will go off for no reason, and there's no fire, there's no smoke. Those are signs that there's something in the house that's haunting you. That kind of thing. And that, so, same with my cell phone. I've got the same call from a false 800 number, 1-800 number, and the person is not talking on the phone. And so... like I said, it's a dead silence, so it may be a sign of a haunting of some kind that's ready to start. On top of my display for Halloween, and that kind of thing. If this is a real haunting that is actually starting, again with invading my electronics like it did when I was a kid, is following the same pattern. So that's why I said we're on a big ghost watch here and that kind of thing. And like I said, it's we're going to like I said, I'm going to keep watch on that. That's why I said if I'm in my pajamas and you see me get up sometimes in the middle of the night and I automatically come up on live stream, it means something. It means there's an apparition moving around in here, and obviously it's I'm gonna sneak up on it. I'm gonna catch it. By video, by live video, and that kind of thing. And like right now, when these dead silent calls come in, my wife answers the base phone sometimes when she's home. She's fairly breaking down and freaking out. And that's so she doesn't know how to take to it. We don't even right now. It could be the same. It could be the same route that happened to me when I was 15, as starting over. A haunting's ready to begin, or whatever. Or it's movement of an apparition of some kind that's getting into the phone lines or whatever. It's and that so because any human being will talk to you on the phone, no matter if it's a voice recording, whatever. You behave, and that so you will get some type of response. Sometimes too, ghosts will actually respond the same way, but then 2 hours later. There's spiritual movement in the house, and right after the phone call, and like happened to me when I was a kid, and a couple times. Well, Camp Nine Lights, we didn't have a telephone, and I actually heard after the story was told. I heard the voices and that kind of thing. My mother always thought that I was making it up as a kid. She sent me to a psychiatrist. Didn't believe in anything. I think he was only in it for the money. But anyhow, and I told him about the phone calls. I told him about that, and about this guy calling all of a sudden a strange dude calling, pretending he's a creditor. And even when the police tried to trace that call, they couldn't trace it. And they couldn't link it to any credit agency. And all the credit agencies says, no, we didn't call. We didn't call that number. Didn't come from any of our credit agencies. It makes you stop and wonder sometimes too. And then after that call came in, like I said, there was spiritual movement in the house. At first we thought somebody had actually broken in. Nobody had broken in. There was actual spiritual movement in the living room after that phone call came in the middle of the night. And there was some type of demon, some type of ghost in the house, got into the house. So, you stay guard on that table there, bud. And, because this is all true. Because you're a Halloween kitty. Anyhow, and, again, it's, and that, so, like I said, any human being will talk to you. But I was shocked because even the ghost that called, actually spoke. And but he lied and tried to say he was a human being, tried to say he was a creditor or whatever. And then 3 hours later, after everybody was in bed, there was a big haunting that broke out in that unit, and there was spiritual movement in the house amongst the living room, and there was an actual authentic ghost sighting in the house, and. Just like, this is another thing that we thought that really happened, and that there was a time, there was so much movement in the house. My uncle Gordon, now my mom's passed on. She's deceased now, but when we were alive, when she was alive, when I was a kid, right when we moved into Alexandra Avenue. And to unite into the townhouses, a strange man showed up in the house. We didn't know where he came from. He looked authentically like my Uncle Gord. Believe it or not, I actually thought that it was my Uncle Gord, because he had the manipulation power to look like him. And then all of a sudden, it freaked me and my mom out. And we went to try to follow it downstairs. It walked down the stairs. We followed it down the stairs. It disappeared. And we called my Uncle Gord, and I was actually about 12 or 13, and I called my Uncle Gord myself, and I said, "Uncle Gord," and he said, "Yeah." I said, "Did you break into our house last night?" He said, "No." He was honest. He was straightforward honest. He said, "No, I was at work all night. I was working night shifts." And I said, "Well, there was a guy in the house here that looked authentically like you." And he said, "No, it wasn't me." He said, "I was at work." And that's when we knew right then it was not human, whatever it was. It had disappeared. It was an apparition that made himself look like him, that revealed itself and appeared to look like him, which scared her, scared me. And I was only 13 years of age, and this is after the time of Camp Northern Lights too, and I had just joined Army Cadets at the time, and the cadet system, like Army Cadets, Air Cadets, and I went and took the story back to cadets. I got my sorry to put this away, I got my butt laughed off the parade square because they thought I went woohoo in the head. I said no. I said, "You guys are gonna come." I said, "You gotta get your ALT team, whatever you have, even with the one militia guy, anyways, to come in and check it out." So from the actual armory, so I had one head sergeant from the militia guy come over, and he brought over some equipment that we had though in those days. We didn't have a strong enough technology to catch, but pick up sound waves. He picked up sound waves, and he said, "I'm sorry." He said, "We didn't believe your son," said to my mom, "but he said there is something haunting your house." And he said there's something must have happened in this unit before you guys moved in. So he said that it's whatever it is, it's linked to your son, and it is following him. It's always going to lightly follow him. It's somehow it's taking on identity of your family members. It's appearing as different family members all the time. It's changing its identity, and that's what I said, because I honestly thought my Uncle Gord went woohoo in the head, and he started breaking into homes, and we called him. He was honest. He came honest about that, and even the police questioned him, and they said, "Did you invade their home, your sister's home, and your nephew's home?" And he said no. He was honest. He passed the lie detector test. He said, "No, I did not." He said, "I was at work." There was witnesses stating he was at work. He was working for limousine mechanic company at the time, and this apparition ghost that showed up in our home, walked right into my bedroom and then walked into my mom's bedroom. Made himself appeared himself to look like him. Authentically took on his image, and that's what scared us the most, and that was so freaky. And this is some of my ghost experiences. Paul, you love really from Fog TV. You'll love like a lot of this stuff. So I mean, some of my experiences I've had over the years. So like I said, I've had several ghost experiences. I've seen that kind of thing too. Just like when I first got married, man, I could be on here all night long. Oh, it must be really coming. When I first got married, we were in a one bedroom. My wife were in. We were in bed sleeping, and I got up to go to the bathroom, and she was sleeping, snoozing away. And I swore I seen her sitting on the couch. And I'm like, I thought you were in bed. And I tried talking, it wouldn't respond, just looked at me. And, which actually freaked me out. And we had first got our own apartment too. And, so I went back and I left whatever the ghost was. I left it sitting there. I didn't bother it. And I woke up my wife and I said, Fran, and she said, yeah. I said, did you have an out of body experience at all? She said, no, not that I know of. And she was in a deep sleep too. And I said, do you want to come check this out in the living room? And she says, no. She says, you go back to bed. You're BSing me. I said, no. I said, there's something sitting in the living room right now. It looks like you. And she says, oh, she starts laughing. She says, don't be an idiot. And that kind of thing, because she thought I was making fun of her. I said, no, honestly. I said, there's something sitting on my couch that is looking identical to you right now. And, okay, that sound just freaked me out too. And she came out and looked. She looked and she screamed. She looked right at it. She pulled me in the room and she said that is she freaked her right out. She broke down when she seen that. And then all of a sudden, then we tried. We even tried talking to it. We couldn't get a response out of it, and it was just staring at us, and in the dark. And then after the sun come up, it disappeared. Whatever it was. So, at first I thought it was her. I thought she had left her body or whatever, in the middle of the night or whatever, and then jumped back into her body, because a lot of Native people, spiritually they have that ability to do that, and that they experience a lot of that. So, this was concerning me, and that. And she said, "Oh no." She said, and then we went. And then the next night we went back to bed, and on my side, the left side of the bed, I heard a big shh, and it freaked me out, and I didn't know what it was. It was something spiritual again. And I woke my wife up and I said, well, you telling me to shut up again? And she said, no, I didn't say anything to you. And then she says, go back to bed. So then all of a sudden she heard a voice. And then it went to her side of the bed and it went, shh. And she jumped. And she says, oh, so I didn't believe you. But she said that. She said, I heard that. And, So that's why I said, you never know when these things are going to sneak up on you, because they just sneak up on you either by telephone or whatever. And that's why I said we have to be on what you call a big spook watch, and that kind of thing, because we don't it doesn't matter if it's Halloween time or any time of the year, aberrations do really exist. And so they'll reveal themselves to different people at different times, and that's why I said it was very unpeaceful type thing, as close encounters as I've had anyways growing up. And even when I first got married, even today, I always experience something. There's always some type of experience, but I said it was not always peaceful. That's what I said. It's it's like going up to an apparition saying peace, love, and positivity, and sometimes it's gonna go shh. So it's not a peaceful ghost. So if you hear a shish, it's not peaceful, because I don't want to hear the peace, love, and positivity. You'd be like, okay. But that's I turned that part of it into a joke. I was just joking about that, but no, that's what I said. A lot of people don't really believe that these things actually do exist, but they do. not everybody's yet have never experienced it. Some of us have, some of us may experience, some of us may never experience stuff like that. You're the lucky ones that don't ever have to experience anything, or have never had a close encounter, or never experienced a close encounter, or one day might experience a close encounter, or may never. If you never do, you're lucky. You ain't missing out on anything. Nothing important, anyways. So like I said, it's again like there is things spiritually that is out there. Yes, there is. That's why I'm glad now that the paranormal investigating organizations or teams, you want to call them, are getting stronger and stronger in technology, because we want to be able to catch these, be able to catch a video footage of them at least on camera. Even though if I'm replicating an old ghost story from my camp experiences about a story that was based on a true story that really happened, and if that story has brought a lot of this out and linked it to my life, this is my way of retelling the story. And if by any chance there's any movement from it, which there's starting to be, then this is a good time to catch whatever it is. Now that we have the technology to catch it on tape, that we're back those days we couldn't catch it. It was only done by sound. You could only record sounds and that kind of thing. You couldn't actually get a full apparition in the background or to show up and that kind of thing. And by the way, all my streams that I do sit back and I do view them. So if I see anything strange or superstitious in the background, or anything spiritual shadows, I'm still watching for that. Too, also, that's why I wear sunshades at night. So, on the camera, because the camera light is so bright. Also, too, with the sunshades, I don't get the double vision like I do with my glasses. So, because with my glasses, I'm in bifocals. So, with my sunshades, if there's any type of apparition movement, I see it quicker on the camera with my sunshades than I do with my actual authentical glasses, because of their bifocals. And I don't want, to me it feels like I'm hallucinating. Where this way, if I got just my sunshades on, I am not actually hallucinating. I can actually see in the background what's going on. Just by videotaping now, by setting it up on my table, I can actually see what's going on in the background behind me this way. And that way I've got a good full view. And this is but yeah, if you ever do see me get up in the middle of the night and I got my pajamas on, I pop into a live stream, it just means that that something's woken me up spiritually, and it means that there's a spiritual movement in the house, a real spiritual movement in the house. And it'll be my way of catching it on one of these live streams, so that way I can actually post it to Facebook. That way it becomes what you call proof that the identity is caught. And that way it's but again, it's one of those things that the whole house has to be totally quiet. That means everybody has to be in a, like, what you deep everything lights down, everything lights off. Totally 100% quiet to catch these things. Like, if you got video games going on in the background, like my wife likes to play video games and that kind of thing, you're really not going to pick up on anything, because you can only hear it or see it when it's totally quiet. It only moves around when it's totally quiet. And Atreyu, my cat, he has these different meows. If there's something moving in the house, he has a certain meow that alerts me to tell me that there's something moving. There's some type of movement. And if he's hungry, there's a different type of meow. Or if he wants something, there's a different type of meow. But if there's a ghost in the house, or there's some type of spiritual at that point in the room, Same with the dead silence at the end. How I know it's an apparition of some kind is because he has a certain meow, and if he meows while I'm on the phone, he's sensing something through the phone that's coming through the phone line, and there's an apparition channeling trying to get in, and that apparition is ready to come in to haunt, and it's a sign stating it's going to make its way in. It's using the telephone as a doorway when we answer it, but we have to answer because we don't have call display, so we take our chances. This is why I have the phone on my desk very close to my video section, so that way I can actually hand reach it and that kind of thing, and that way I can pick it up. So and that's so we're going to that's why I keep it close by me this way, so nobody's tripping over the phone line. I don't have to keep moving it back. And again, like I said, from now to time, these dead silent calls are still coming in. They've tried to come through myself. They made it's come through my cell phone too. And at first I thought maybe it might have been the police department just running some type of camera, running some phone line test or whatever. I talked to one day I seen him at the Rotary Village Fair, and I said, we're getting these dead silence, and I talked to all the OPP officers, and they channeled the chief of police, and they said nope. They said we won't do that. Not even for testings. We don't have to call people to test anything. And that they said it's got to be something else. They said it wouldn't be us. And they said even if it was a credit agency, they'd actually talk to you. They wouldn't leave a dead line. They said it's got to be either got to be a hacker. It's got to be. They think their point of view. They think it's a hacker. But they said that they may not be 100% be able to 100% pinpoint it. They said it's either a hacker trying to hack your telephone, or if you believe in spiritual movement of any kind, or haven't had any experiences of any close encounters of any kind of identities, they think it might be an act of an actual apparition, like I experienced when I was a kid. So, again, that's why I always told my wife, I said, when you answer the phone, it's a dead silence. Watch how you speak to it. I said, because if it is a spirit of some kind, or it's an apparition trying to use the phone as a door to get in, I said, if you freak out, it's going to sense that, and it's going to come through. It's going to channel through. It's going to come in and haunt quicker. And that, so I mean, you're gonna disturb it, you're gonna piss it off, whatever, that kind of thing. You're gonna upset it. That you don't want to do. You want to keep in a. I didn't know this when I was a kid, but it senses your fears. So because it feeds on energy and fear, all spirits do, and if it senses that you're afraid of it. On top of the haunting, it is if it senses you're afraid of it, and that it's going to be harmful to you quicker. If you sense that you've got a peaceful mind to it, it'll still haunt, but it won't be as strong of a channel, or a spiritual haunting channel, and that it'll still haunt you, yes, but it won't come across as being harmful to you, because you're not showing you're not showing that you're afraid of it. If you start showing you're afraid of it, it's going to make it stronger, because it's feeding off those energy vibes. It's feeding off your energy. So, and it's feeding off your fear, and a lot of people usually don't understand that when they experience stuff like that. But anyhow, like I said, I am going to, like I said, we're still going to go into what you call the reopen the Hunter's Cabin, one more time, haunted house, just for Halloween night, Devil's Night, and then it'll come around again next year, and that. So we're gonna have a good time with that. Like I said, in between that time, while I'm telling the authentic ghost story and taking you into the dead silence of the actual haunted cabin part of it, by any chance, if we pick anything up on here, or if you hear any strange voices that I'm not even doing, because you can tell the difference between me doing the voice of the haunted fireplace and a real apparition's voice. And if a real apparition voice starts picking up in the room here, we ask that you please stay calm, don't be afraid of it, and that we're gonna try to still run the haunted house, because we don't want to wreck our Halloween and that kind of thing, because Halloween's supposed to be a fun night. On top of that, but if anything startles, if there is a real apparition that actually shows up on camera in behind or whatever, or you start noticing things behind me, and let me know right away in a comment. That way, I can go back and view the video, so I can actually pick it up and see it, and see if it's actually caught on tape, caught on these video streams. So like I said, so if you see anything spiritually, that is what you call like an actual real apparition that actually does happen during the story, or during my Hunter's Cabin setup, and you sense or something that you see some type of movement, there's a spirit actually poking its head out in the background here. I'm not talking about my electronic costumes. I'm not talking about the cat running around in the background. I mean, on top of that, if you actually start seeing ghost figments, or you actually start seeing an apparition of any kind on any of these video streams that pops in and out, or even if it's a quick flash in and out, please feel free to comment below. Please be serious about it too, because I am connected to a paranormal investigator and that kind of thing, and then I'll get him to review the stream too. So that's why I said please be actually legitimate, which means don't make stuff up. It means if you actually honestly do see something that's coming across the live stream, I'm not talking about the cat running across like a fool or whatever, or you hear you know that I am the actor that in my story Hunter's Cabin that reacts Ian, and I do the voices of Ian and Ivan, and if you hear anything, a total different voice that is not mine, same in the fireplace, or not even my wife's, on top of when I'm doing the haunted fireplace, and on top of my whispers, and let's say all of a sudden you hear a strange voice that you know is not my voice, that there's another voice in the room at the same time, feel free to comment that below. Don't be rude about it. We just ask you don't be rude about it. Please be like Bastion in Neverending Story used to tell Atreyu, be confident. That's the smartest thing he's ever faithfully told to Noah Hathaway when, Brian Oliver and all them, when they were doing the movie, and he kept saying be confident. So no matter what you hear or see, I'm going to tell you the same thing. Be confident, be legitimate. Please feel free to comment below. A moment you see a movement of any kind that is actually supernatural, paranormal, so that way I can go back, view that stream, and that way, because automatically this is an open video stream, and automatically it shows up on the video stream. It is caught on video stream. It'll be posted right to Facebook. So and most stuff that goes on Facebook eventually does go public. So that way, there is proof of some type of existence and that kind of thing, and that. So yeah, so that'd be great. And anyhow, and again, I hope everybody's enjoying their Halloween. And the reopening of Hunter's Cabin, the replicant of it, is going to be a fun night. It is going to be, there's October 30th, the 31st. And then we're going into, and then after that, we're kind of going to, what you call, we're going to start doing our Christmas countdown and everything. And that, so, and I will be probably on again tomorrow sometime. Tomorrow morning I have to get up early. I have my job at the dentist office 1 day a week, and that I do, and then I got my newspapers after that. And then I'll come home and after I check the mail and that kind of thing, and like Michael Klotz would always say, remember, peace, love, positivity. And I am your host, the Gypsy Rover, and this was your Jokers on Duty. Have a nice day, guys.